I was very young when I was sent to Bhopal after the gas tragedy to become a member of the crisis team. And I believe a boy became a man in Bhopal.
Do you think Indian businesses, particularly the young businesses, are investing enough in themselves?
You have to recognize the heterogeneity of this country.
Yeah, I think I've heard many a times that people don't lead organizations, they lead people. So
that's right. I come from a school of thought that you have to be a learner all your life.
Today, we are decoding disruption, the conscious Indian consumer, and what happens when private capital meets purpose. Welcome to Future Unplugged. For this episode, we have someone with us who personifies clarity of vision and tenacity in execution. His leadership style has been a blend of both heart and strategy, and he continues to build on his legacy of excellence. From leading Hindustan Unilever, India's most admired consumer company, for more than a decade, to now shaping the investment narrative at Catterton India. Please welcome Sanjiv Mehta. Sanjiv, welcome to PwC's Future Unplugged. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely delighted, Sandeep. Thank you for inviting me.
Sanjiv, let me just go back to your journey, because I'm sure your journey has been inspiring for many of us. You started many years back, I suppose, with Unilever at that point in time in Bangladesh, which was a tough.
Yeah. I first started with Union Carbide.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was very young when I was sent to Bhopal after the gas tragedy to become a member of the crisis team.
Right.
And I believe a boy became a man in Bhopal. And I saw the crisis of the tragedy at very close quarters.
Right.
I saw the dynamics being played out between the parent company and the subsidiary.
Right.
I saw, and that was before the 24/7 news channels.
Right.
Yeah. And I saw the politics being played. Yeah. And I also saw great leadership. I also saw that how a corporation doesn't let go its accountability and responsibility to the society. So there were many facets of it.
Right.
And while the tragedy was of huge proportions, it was a great learning exercise. And I was able to pack years of experience into 18 months when I was based in Bhopal. Right. In the crisis team.
Right.
And then I moved to chemicals and plastics business of Union Carbide, which was India's first naphtha cracker. And I became the commercial head of that business. And then that was divested. It was the largest sale of a going concern in 1987.
Right.
Then I moved to sales and marketing.
Right.
And when Union Carbide decided to leave India, I joined Unilever outside. And my first job was in Dubai. Those days, we didn't call it a startup.
Right.
But that's what it was. It had come onshore. And it came in many decades after our good friends from Cincinnati, P&G, had come to Middle East. And it was about setting up new factories, entering new categories, entering into distribution arrangements. So it was a very exciting time.
Yeah.
And after that, my first big job as the commercial director on the board was when I was sent to Unilever Bangladesh.
Right. So I'll come to that, but just imagine Unilever as a startup. I mean, we can't even imagine that today, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
It must have been so fascinating. But I think on the Union Carbide piece, Sanjiv, I had to pick up one thing, which was, you mentioned crisis. And every crisis, of course, creates an opportunity. But in the moment, everything seems broken. And one of the big things is, in that environment, how can you trust anything? And how do you build trust? If anybody in the ecosystem is trying to build trust, how do you do that? What were your experiences?
See, if I just pick up a few learnings from those days, Union Carbide was a conglomerate.
Right.
It had the ever-ready division, the batteries and flashlights. It had the carbons and metal division, the chemicals and plastics division, the marine products division, and it had the agrochemical, the agriculture products division. So one thing which Union Carbide had done, and the chairman was a wonderful gentleman, called Mr. Vijay Gokhale, very unlucky, but a brilliant guy. He said, okay, I'll have a small crisis team managing the Bhopal affairs.
Right.
Rest of the company, please, business as usual, keep focusing on the business. And he and a small team, where I was the junior most member, we were focused on Bhopal.
Right.
The other is, Mr. Gokhale was a very authentic person. And I still remember it was Business World which had interviewed a few of us that despite the crisis, why are we still in the company?
Mm.
And we said that it's not because we didn't have other options, but it was because of loyalty to the company and to Mr. Vijay Gokhale. Yeah. And this guy did absolutely an amazing job of saving the company while battling the crisis of that magnitude. And his communication within the company and outside were very authentic. And a man of integrity, a man of character.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like us stayed behind because we wanted to help Mr. Gokhale.
Right.
Yeah. So, and this kind of being as part of the crisis team helped me significantly when I was navigating the Arab Spring, when I was chairman of North Africa, Middle East much later. Yeah. Or when we had the second Gulf War and there was a lot of angst against the Western corporation when I was chairman of Bangladesh. Or managing COVID. There are some things which get very clearly in your hard drive.
Yeah.
And they get stretched in your living principles.
Yeah. No, I cannot agree with you more, Sanjiv. And living through a crisis, and we went through one many years back as well, and coming through it individually, institutionally, I think it teaches you a lot. And possibly I would, if at all, that's one thing that I would not trade for anything, the learning that you got there. But, to the point that you mentioned, you've had such global experiences, right? Starting with the tragedy in Bhopal, etc. And then, of course, all the experiences that you had globally. And then coming back to India at a time when India was, of course, trying to integrate itself in the global setup. Consumerism was on the rise. But, it was possibly still a bit muted. From your standpoint, how did all these stints that you had earlier with Unilever and with Union Carbide manifest in the way you ran Unilever eventually in India?
So I'll tell you that there was a certain method in the madness. Yeah. Bangladesh was a business which was sinking when I was sent there.
Right.
And when Mona and we went there on a recce trip, it was very dismal and it was a business in deep crisis. And when a business is in deep crisis, you have talent leaving you. Yeah, you don't have spring in the step of people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very excited with it. And my chairman in Arabia was very clear, a wonderful gentleman called Tom Stevens. He had said, Sanjiv, that business is in crisis. Don't feel compelled to say yes.
Right.
If you don't like it, say no. We'll find another board level position for you. But on our way back, when I was discussing with Mona on a flight back to Dubai from Dhaka, Mona said, where in your life will you get a chance to turn around a Unilever company?
Right.
Yeah. So I took on the challenge. And I know Unilever was evaluating various options.
Yeah.
I knew if I failed, my career could go down the Bay of Bengal. And but looking back, risk and rewards go together.
Yeah.
And if you don't take risk, I believe you won't be able to make it big.
Yeah.
So don't play safe all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So that was Bangladesh. Then I was sent to a much bigger company, which was Philippines. And there, the bigger company was P&G, because Philippines used to be American colony. So the American corporations, they had embedded themselves extremely well over there. And there we won a pitched battle, took over hair leadership, which was the biggest category. And from there, I went to North Africa, Middle East, which was running, as a chairman, I was running 20 countries, from Oman in the east to Morocco in the west, and everything in between. And so in many ways, Sanjiv, Unilever was planning me by giving me bigger challenges, bigger businesses, more complicated businesses, to train me and test me. I had remained in touch with India all these years. We were out of the country for 21 years.
Right.
So I would read everything about India. I would ask people going to India to get the magazines. And in Unilever's scheme of things, India has always been important.
Right.
We were not as big and as value creating as we are now, but Unilever was still very important.
Right.
And for any Indian, getting a chance to run Hindustan Unilever would be a fabulous opportunity.
Yeah.
And when that opportunity came my way, I was absolutely delighted. And a few years later, there was a time when my global CEO wanted me to run Unilever US.
Right.
But I was very clear
that you want to.
I want to remain in India.
Yeah. So Sanjiv, if I may ask, all the years that you spent before you came to Unilever in India, you eventually came up with this whole strategy about many Indias, which was very, very successful and very pivotal, should I say. Did all your international exposure and the fact that you ran very different markets like Bangladesh, Philippines, Middle East come in handy?
That's such a good question. I'll tell you, you talked about winning in many Indias. And you know what my inspiration for winning in many Indias was? The 20 countries I was running in North Africa, Middle East, they had more in common than the 28 states of India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They had one predominant language, Arabic, one predominant religion, Islam, and one predominant culture, an Islamic culture. Yeah, there were pockets of French influence, British influence, but that was the overarching.
Right.
Whereas hamare desh mein, you have languages which are different. How you define beauty is different. Yeah. Is your culinary habits are different. Your GDP per capita is different. So for a large company, treating India as one homogeneous entity was wrong. When I was selling this idea to my team, I still remember that management committee meeting where I told them, if the richest Indian walks into the room, you know what the richest Indian is, on an average, all of us would be billionaires. How absurd that is. So, averaging is a sin. You have to de-average.
Very, very well put. Very, very well put.
You have to de-average to understand what are the real jobs to be done, what is the strategy you're going to have, and how you're going to put that strategy into action.
Right.
That was the genesis of winning in many Indias.
Yeah. And I think that paid you rich dividends. And I must say that today, even as we look at, for instance, even our own business, etc. I mean, and we look at businesses that we have helped, because of what you mentioned, very difficult for some businesses which start local to become national, forget global.
Absolutely.
Much capital has been burned with people's aspiration to go national, but we are so different. We are so different.
So, assuming in India that if a proposition has worked in one part of India, it will necessarily work in rest of India, is not certain at all.
Yeah. You have to customize.
Absolutely.
You have to localize.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
You have to recognize the heterogeneity of this country.
Yeah.
You know, like I was saying, how you define beauty. In some parts of India, hair.
Yeah.
In some part of India, it's the nails. Some part of India, it's the face.
Right.
So, you know, how you define beauty is different.
Yeah.
And when we went into winning in many Indias, I'll give you another insight into it. Generally, the management principles and books would talk about bringing in simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make things as simple as possible, remove complexity. I have a different take on this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when it comes to non-value adding complexity, yes, you should remove it. But there are certain value adding complexities. It's like a good cholesterol.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You have to learn to manage it rather than remove it.
Right. Very
So
interesting.
just imagine, we were now talking to our brand managers and marketing managers that, hey guys, instead of one strategy, you have to make 14 strategies. I'll give you an example. If you pick up a bag of Surf Excel today, in different parts of India, the formulation is different dependent on the hardness of the water. So you're adding complexity. But that is what enabled us to create this huge value
Right.
over the 10-year period.
Yeah. I think this would be a wonderful example for many business people, first generation in particular, who possibly have aspirations, etc., that some added complexity, if you want to succeed nationally, may not be a bad idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
From getting Unilever to where you did in India, from a brand standpoint, and you must have met a lot of business people, etc. You yourselves were very, very responsible for putting the Horlicks and the Boost brand together, and you know there were many opportunities for you to look at younger businesses, which may be subject matter of acquisition or alliances, if I may. When you look at your journey at Unilever and what came to you as either acquisition opportunities, both by way of products as well as people who had the passion, how well do you think India has evolved and Indian products have evolved?
You know, if you look today and ask yourself, has any Indian brand gone global? Yeah. We'll be challenged. Yeah. And, you know, when we say that we are not a product nation, if we have to compete on the global stage, we have to compete on quality, cost, service, and innovation. Not either or, it's all and. The second important bit is that we are a big nation.
Yeah.
We're a reasonably big market. So I think many times we may be satiated that I might just tap into Indian market. But if you are in Korea, if you're just looking at Korean market, that's not going to help you build a big business. And it's not surprising K-beauty has moved across the world, whereas I-beauty hasn't really moved on.
Right. So,
So we have to start putting a lens, start having ambition, which goes beyond the geographical boundaries of a country.
Right.
And once we start dreaming big, and we start acting big, I don't see why Indian brands can't be global.
So two questions, Sanjeev, which come to mind. One is, of course, the point that you just mentioned. Are we poor salesmen for India? Because I've had people come to India and say that, oh, you guys are doing so much. We didn't realize that you can compete with China on ABC, etc., etc. Are we poor salesmen?
See, I'll tell you, in Unilever, in HUL, when we created this massive value and took our market cap from $15 billion to $76 billion in 10 years, one of the things we focused on is cost leadership.
Right.
And the costs in India became even lower than China. Whether it is Chandrayaan, whether it is the way India during COVID period provided vaccine to all, or whether the DPI and UPI, it's become a game changer.
Absolutely.
The developed nation who have come to understand from India how you built this infrastructure and how today even the smallest of vendor collects money on UPI. If we can do this, package it well, of course it will require branding and marketing. But I think we do it. But we haven't done it to the extent our potential is.
Right. So I cannot agree with you more, Sunji. In fact, we have been working with a large snack food manufacturer in the country, and I think one of the aspirations that the patriarch of the family has.
How do you take it global?
Yes.
Make it into a global brand.
And Sanjeev, the patriarch actually told me once that for him, nirvana would be when his products, snack food products, get to every breakfast table, and that is what his aspiration is. So India is being aspirational, and I'm very, very hopeful that in times to come, with India's relevance, India will create a significantly different brand, be services, manufacturing, consumer products, and so on and so forth. But let me ask you another question. India's entrepreneurial ecosystem is very robust. So many startups coming through, etc., etc. We say more than 100 unicorns and stuff like that. But then there are many which fall apart as well, and that's bound to happen. Just on the point that we have been discussing, do you feel that it's easier for anybody to go from, let's say, X to 2X, but it's very, very hard to go from, let's say, 2X to 10X? And if that is the case, what do you think causes that, and any suggestions that you might have?
Sure. Let me take an example of consumer goods, for instance.
Sure.
If I look at the channel construct, the quick commerce and e-commerce are about 10% of the market. Modern trade or the supermarkets is about 15% of the market. There are institutions which are 3-4%. And then you have the general trade, which is 70-odd% of the market. Now, as far as direct to consumers is concerned, the barriers are much low.
Right.
So your ability to reach the consumers with speed is much easier. But once you reach a certain size in India, you have to go offline. And offline requires a different set of capabilities.
Right. And capital as well.
And capital. So it requires both science, art, and capital. I think it's important for founders to understand that what took them, the hustle mentality and the passion to a certain stage, will not take them beyond, because that requires a different set of capabilities. And the other important bit, if I look at from a consumer goods lens, is building a brand.
Right.
In D2C, entrepreneurs get adept at performance marketing. Marketing is a misnomer. It is really performance selling.
Right.
Right. And they don't invest in building a brand. And a simple way to test is pull the plug on performance marketing See, does your brand have a pull
Yeah.
to get the sales? And I'll tell you, many, they'll flounder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't get carried away by the sales numbers that you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Invest in building a brand.
Right. Wonderful message.
And once you do that and you build capabilities, then you would be able to move from 2x to 10x.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful message. And hopefully, many of the young entrepreneurs are listening. And I'm sure all the capital investors are also listening. And I'm sure, Sanjiv, in your new avatar, as an investor, that's the advice that you give to everybody who comes to you.
Absolutely.
So how is this phase of life now treating you as you get to invest capital in doing exactly the same things that we have been talking about?
That's right. Now, look at a scenario. I'll compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The principles of creating value are very similar. And if I may, over the years, running businesses in 25 countries for Unilever, I have codified what makes a high-performing company.
Right.
Yeah. It starts with the mindset that you bring in. Yeah, the growth mindset. It is the distinctive capabilities that you build, which are hard to replicate.
Yeah.
And the third axis is high-performance anatomy. Yeah. Which is the culture, the fetish for execution, the performance management, the talent and management development all comes under that. And that's how you build a high-performing company. Yeah. And the value creation levers are around growth, margin, and capital velocity. That's how you create value. So this earlier I used to focus on creating value for one big company. Now one is focusing on creating value for several small companies.
Right.
Yeah. The principles are similar. The scale and the intensity is different.
Right.
That's why. Now, what's the difference between my earlier role? In Unilever, when we would acquire a brand, we would acquire for keeps.
Right.
How do you make it into a timeless business?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Now, when you acquire a brand or when you invest in a company, at the same time, you ask yourself, what would be the possible exits and when?
Yeah, surely.
Yeah,
Surely.
that goes with private equity.
Yeah.
And here, then the timing becomes important.
Right.
Whereas when you're acquiring a brand as a strategic, if it's a big brand, you pay 100 crore more, 100 crore less, won't make a big difference.
Yeah.
But here, it could make a difference to your IRR because your time horizon is different.
Yeah.
You know, our vision for Catterton in India, which is, Catterton is the world's largest consumer-focused investment vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But in India, it's virtually a small play, and we are now dreaming big. Our idea is we want it to be a preferred destination for entrepreneurs in consumer space requiring private capital, requiring capabilities, and very importantly, helping them transition from an hustle enterprise to becoming an institution.
And on that note, let me ask you another question. Both with your previous experience and now with everybody that you're meeting, businesses that you're meeting, you spoke about not focus on the hustle. Do you think Indian businesses, particularly the young businesses, are investing enough in themselves, both capability-wise, process-wise, to keep themselves safe? And I'm not talking things like cybersecurity; those are fine, not tangible things.
Yeah,
but
you know, every human being is a brat, if I may say so. And to keep the luster, you have to keep investing in it, and you have to keep ensuring that it does not loses its relevance. Yeah. I come from a school of thought that you have to be a learner all your life. Yeah. The moment you stop learning and you think you've become cat's whisker, that's the beginning of becoming fossilized.
Right.
And more so in today's fast-paced world.
Oh, yeah.
So having a hunger to learn, having that curiosity, having that experimentation mindset, that is something which has to remain with a person all their life.
Yeah.
Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a manager.
We also have seen over the years, and as a deals person, somebody who worked in private equity many years, etc., I saw a lot of businesses failing, a lot of capital effectively going down the drain because let's say when you're putting two cultures together or you're putting two processes together, you see some amount of one-upmanship, you see some amount of insecurity. Now, partly that's bound to happen. I understand that, and I think it is somebody's job to make sure that we minimize some of those things. But do you think, Sanjiv, with everything, you've seen, almost 4 decades now, do you think it's changing, or this insecurity will be evergreen?
Harvard Business School, HBR, Harvard Business Review, had come out with an article about, I think, 7-8 years back, where it had analyzed all the big global M&A transactions. And it had come to a conclusion that over 70% had not created value. Yeah. And one of the big reasons was the culture didn't meet. Yeah. If I use an analogy of a mid-career recruit coming to a company with a very strong culture, that recruit may be very good. But like a kidney transplant, sometimes the body rejects it. Yeah. So one of the big things in an M&A is bringing the two cultures together. And the starting point is, generally you will see in M&As that there is an acquirer and an acquired. Willy-nilly. You may cloak it under different words, merger of equals, all that. Right. But we know it. Yeah. There's an acquirer and an acquired. And it's very important not to let the acquired feel they have been acquired.
Wonderful.
Yeah. That would be the start of the rot. You won't be able to retain the best talent. At the end of the day, when you acquire a business, yes, there are brands, there are intangibles, there are tangibles. But the most important asset is the people. People who made the brands. Yeah. Don't lose them. Make them feel important. And that goes with your own company as well.
Of course.
I'm a strong believer in looking after your people, and the people will look after your business.
Oh, very well said, Sanjiv. And I think I've heard many a times that people don't leave organizations, they leave people. So if you have not connected with people or not dealt with them well, because every relationship, there's a value, right? Now,
absolutely. There is a nice saying that train people so well that they get many offers. But treat them so well that they don't accept any offer.
Wonderful. So let me ask you another slightly controversial topic.
Sure.
We are talking about work-life balance these days. What do you think should be guidance that leaders could give? Because anybody is a leader, right? And if you're managing one person or you're managing 1,000, right?
Sure, absolutely.
What would your recommendation?
There has been a very interesting debate up in the country. But if I give my perspective on things, first, I think we must accept I don't want to get into the debate of how many hours, but there is no substitute for hard work.
Right.
Let's accept it. And more so in a country like ours, which is in a certain stage of evolution. Yeah. Can we as India clamor for a 4-day week like many of the European nations? Cannot afford it. Yeah. So there's no substitute for hard work. But also it's very important that you don't live to work, you work to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And life becomes pleasant when it is not unidimensional, but it becomes a wholesome life.
Yeah.
When you have a big life beyond work,
yeah.
That's when you also bring your best to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And in one aspect, work-life balance has to be earned. Let me explain what I mean by earned. If you're a bloody good employee, you do amazing work, you did never fail on delivery, would your boss ever be concerned whether you go off 4 hours early or you work from home? They won't be concerned with it. So you've earned that. Yeah. But I think it is also very important for us to understand that as human beings, you're a social animal.
Yeah.
If you're just ensconced in a work environment, and would a person be able to give the best? I think not. So it works on both sides.
Right.
You get the right to get the balance. And for the bosses and the employers, you create a conducive environment to get the best out of your employees.
So one of the things, Sanjiv, to the point that you mentioned, I will say, even in the people surveys that we do, it always comes across that one of the things that people appreciate about the firm is that we are a responsible firm. Whether it is a work that we do as part of the PwC Foundation or the volunteering hours that we encourage, in some ways that also becomes an outlet. But I want to just deep dive a little bit on this particular topic, on being a responsible organization, because that's clearly a magnet. From what I can see, it's clearly a magnet for people and talent, which we also discussed. Are organizations focusing on this enough as a mechanism to encourage and retain?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Now, I come from a background of working for a company which was purpose-driven and values-led. Yeah, you talked about responsible, and we used to have a 4G mantra. The 4G had got nothing to do with telecom.
Right.
It was about growth. It was about consistent. It was about profitable. It was about competitive. And it was about responsible growth. Now, genesis of this is that every business to succeed and to excel should have a purpose beyond making money.
Right.
And the philosophy of multi-stakeholder approach is that you look after your consumers, your customers, your employees, your suppliers. If you do it well, then in the process, shareholder value gets created. So, while we moved from $15 billion to $76 billion in 10 years in HUL, I don't think we ever told our people that a purpose in life is to create shareholder value.
Right.
No. Our purpose has been to make sustainable living commonplace, to make people feel good, look good, and get more out of life. Yeah. So purpose is extremely important, But what is happening today, that in many places you find wokeism come in. Yeah. And wokeism destroys what the world is trying to create. Your actions are not aligned with what you say.
Right.
When there is a gap between say and do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people become cynical.
Of course.
If you look at today, the global CEO of BlackRock was a big proponent of ESG.
Yes.
And last year in his annual report, the word ESG wasn't mentioned.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Or if you look at what's happening across the Atlantic against diversity, yeah, I believe we have done injustice to women and to many other subgroups. Morally, it is very important that we correct the wrong. And there is empirical evidence that when you have a diverse business,
Right.
it becomes a better performing business. And I feel sad when I see CEOs of big corporations bend backwards to remove DI from the manifesto. You need to have a strong spine. And if you believe what is right, then you need to pursue it with passion. And it should not be just as a fad or something you neatly frame and hang on your boardroom.
Yeah.
That's not what it is meant to be. Yeah. But I also believe, Sanjiv, coming from a very practical standpoint, that purpose or sustainability or DI, you add luster to it when the performance of the business is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you try to cover up your non-performance by talking about sustainability and purpose, then it won't work and people will see through it.
None of this can be enabled in everything that we do without a very supportive ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely.
And that starts at home.
Yeah.
But from your standpoint, I mean, you have had a wonderful career and now you're in a new phase of your careers, if I may. What is that one enabler or support ecosystem that you appreciate the most over these years?
You know, I'll tell you something. You're not a CEO and chairman when you walk inside your home. You're a husband, you're a son, you're a brother, you're a father.
Yeah.
And your home ecosystem keeps you grounded. They anchor you to reality.
Yeah.
And when everything looks bleak, you still get the light and the air at home.
Right.
Yeah. So your home ecosystem has to be very supportive and strong, and it makes a world of difference. Well, I've been fortunate. You know, I imbibed things like integrity and love for the nation from my parents. Yeah. I have an amazing life partner and spouse in Mona. And she's partnered me in my over 3 decades of professional and personal life. And I have 2 wonderful daughters who are my biggest critics and my biggest supporters.
We can't do without them. We certainly can't do without them, and can't do what we do at work without that enabling ecosystem. At times I feel that we don't acknowledge them enough.
True.
I certainly could do better, but
all of us.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that, as they say, if you like something or if you love someone, you should express it. And I think we don't do enough of that.
And we as Indians are even more shy of expressing ourselves.
Yeah. So Sanjiv, one more question. If you were not to do what you have done over the last 4 decades very successfully, what would you have done?
This is something which I'll give you an insight on, which I had been very fascinated during my early years, my teenage years. And I think if I were not into being a business manager, I would have been a truck driver.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, that's the Punjabi in me. Yeah, very fascinated with truck drivers' life of adventure, embellished with discipline.
Right.
And I find very fascinating driving on the GT road,
Right.
or going from Mumbai to Calcutta, or from Amritsar to Chennai.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so it is about adventure. It is about with a purpose that you drive, not aimlessly, and in a very disciplined fashion. So yeah, I would have been a truck driver.
Wonderful. I mean, that glorifies many Indians who make sure that there is enough supplies across the country and they keep us going. Wonderful, wonderful response, Sanjiv. And but we are only too glad that you're not into truck driving and you have contributed to India the way you have. So thank you so much, Sanjiv.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjiv, for the insightful discussion with depth and candor, and for making this conversation such a meaningful one. It's been a pleasure having you on Future Unplugged. And to everyone joining in, we hope this sparked a new question, a new idea, or a new ambition. That's the goal. Until next time.